Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Takeover Tuesdays. For those of you that have never been with us before, give me just a moment to tell you what this segment is about. It is all about connecting community and supporting small business owners. It's a chance for small business owners to share their story and go a little bit deeper than we normally would, so you can get to know them and who they are and how they got to the place that they are, because that's really critical to understanding how businesses start and the journey that they've been on. So, I am going to introduce today's special guest, and he is here with me live, and he's got so many talents. This is Anubis. Welcome. Good morning, Anubis Heru.
Good morning, Jessica. How are
Oh,
you?
pretty good. So, it's
Good.
funny because it is cold today. So, everybody
Mhm.
knows that's local. And really, it's been on national news. It's funny, right? We went from record high 100 temperature temps to today like
Yeah.
35.
Oh, yeah.
But the rain is good. The rain, we need the rain for these fires.
Yeah, the moisture is definitely needed. It's a good thing, but it just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Like it's kind
Yeah,
of weird. But
welcome to Colorado, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't matter how many years you're here. I don't know about you. I still don't get used to it. I'm like, this is an adjustment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you do a lot of things. You are a writer, an entrepreneur, a firearms instructor.
Hmm.
So, we're going to dive into each of those, and I'm going to let you kind of lead it where it goes. So, let's just get started and
Okay.
just share with us a bit about who you are, just your story.
Okay. Well, Anubis Heru, as she said before, Colorado native. Been here pretty much all my life. Went to film school, went to college out in Jefferson City, Missouri. Um, Journalism was kind of my major at that time, and it just really didn't mesh with what I wanted to do with my life. So, graphic designer, self taught, been doing graphic design since '97. You know, it's been an interesting journey. Fashion, writing, screenplay writing, film school, martial arts, all that kind of stuff is just a part of who I am and what I do. And now I'm in the process of monetizing that creativity and that vision that I have. So
Yeah. So, let's start with the writing piece.
okay.
What inspires you? Well, what inspired you to write? Or were you always like writing as a child? And then what inspires you now to write?
Yeah. So always been inspired to write creatively. I've always, I find old stuff that I wrote when I was like in first grade, and it's always been like, whoa, I wrote this in first grade. Um, Science fiction. My father got me into watching science fiction movies when I was like six. I probably shouldn't have been watching some of the movies because they were a little bit much, like Alien and Predator and Terminator and stuff like that. But it really got me into the love of that particular genre, and that's a lot of what I write. I do write some romantic comedy type screenplays, um, action, but sci-fi and fantasy are kind of like my main go-to. I can write pretty much about anything if you give me a topic, but I really love science fiction. Yeah, so.
Yeah. So, in your science fiction, tell us. I know about your comics. I've seen
Hmm.
them, read them. Can you get
Yes.
into that a little bit?
Yeah, so the first comic book that I pretty much put together is called Acid of the Gods. Launched that around 2017, did a Kickstarter campaign that wasn't successful, but took that momentum and just designed, built the website, and just put it out there. So Acid of the Gods is a sword and soul kind of Afro-futurism type of story, and it involves a young prince and three unlikely heroes that have to find an ancient artifact that helps put their planet back in balance. So it's pretty cool. I have a great illustrator on my team. His name is Ryan Best, and it's been kind of slow motion putting out each issue, but that's okay. It's a great story. It's a great story arc, and it's really just taking a lot of time and energy to put into it. But I'm still working on it, guys. If you guys are looking for issue 3, it's coming out soon. I promise you. Um, and I'll let you guys know when that does come out.
Yeah, I love it, building up the anticipation. So I have
Yes.
two things to say about this. One,
Okay.
can we get those characters in real life to start balancing our universe right now?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. These
Because
guys. Well,
Lord
the thing
knows
is
we need
about
it.
yeah, and the thing about the characters is they're very human, right? They have a lot of flaws and things that they have to deal with on a personal level. At the same time, the weight of the world on their shoulders. So people will be able to relate to a lot of these characters because they deal with relationship stuff, they deal with family drama, they deal with a lot of things at the same time. They have these abilities that I explain through science that enable them to overcome just a little bit, but it's really their spirit and the people that rally behind them that gives them that edge over their enemies.
That's powerful. I agree with that in real life. It really is
Yeah,
your spirit that
yeah,
drives everything.
yeah,
Yeah, so I can
absolutely.
totally relate and connect to that.
Yeah, real
I
talk.
I also your wife is online. Good morning, Rainey.
Good
Uh,
morning.
she just mentioned brain tumor survivor. Is that you that she's referring to?
Yes, yes, yes. The
Okay.
the brain tumor story.
Talk
Yeah,
to me
so
about that.
2001, I came back from Jefferson City, Missouri. The Lincoln University is what the school that I attended, HBCU, um, and came back home. Just decided it wasn't really my speed, and at the time they didn't really offer, the courses that I wanted to advance myself. Came back home, went to Metro, was working at the auditor's office. His name was Don Martez at the time. I was an intern, which is a sweet gig at the time. And then I was doing some janitorial work and just, doing martial arts and going, going, going. And, after a year of being back home, I started noticing these crazy symptoms, vertigo, frequent headaches, that kind of thing. And then I was like, oh man, well, I'm young, I'm good. I'll, go to the doctor when I can, right? And then, my body actually shut down one night and had to go to the hospital, um, did the MRI and CAT scans and all those type of things. And really what it boiled down to was a golf ball sized tumor in the fourth ventricle of my brain. It was called a hemangioblastoma. And they said I had to have surgery the next day. So 8-hour surgery, 9 months, or not 9 months, but 90 days later, I was, you know, learning how to walk and talk and get back my motor skills, fine motor skills and stuff. But because of that surgery and, going through that experience, I have a interesting take on life and how precious it is and how important it is to live your life and just, you know, do what you want to do.
Wow, I can only imagine. Gosh, going through just relearning things. How did that impact you to up until today? Just relearning different things that we take probably for
Mm.
granted sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. At that time, I was at my athletic peak. I could do whatever I wanted to with my body, just acrobatics, whatever I wanted to do. And then when I after the surgery, I physically had to learn how to walk. That's when I emotionally broke down. I was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to, be the person that I was before? I got to go through like I'm a baby. So it's definitely very impactful. And, I just encourage anyone that's going through something physical. Um, it's the mindset that really gets your body back into, reconnecting itself and it's, putting itself back together. And as long as you're positive and have that positive outlook, you probably are going to heal much faster. And then also the people around you. I had a ton of people that were in the waiting room. And, it's funny at the hospital, they actually thought I was a celebrity because of the number of people that were in the waiting room for me. And here I am, I'm just 20 years old, I'm just a regular kid. And, it was about 100 people in the waiting room. That was including family and friends. And, that was to me very indicative of, the people that care about me and the people that love me. So it was really powerful And to this day, I carry a very high esteem, for connections and family and just people in general. I hate burning bridges. I like to, stay connected with people because I generally care, you know.
Man, that's powerful. And it just shows that we don't know who's really rooting for us,
Yeah. Yeah,
that just shows
absolutely.
the how valuable you are to those in your life, you
Hmm.
specifically, and then even
Yeah,
everyone as a whole. So,
absolutely.
gosh,
Yes, indeed.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
How has that so I know you were a writer before, and like you said, through
Hmm.
childhood, did
Yeah.
any of that experience impact the things that you write about too?
Yeah. It's so crazy because laying up in the hospital, for 90 days, I had double vision, so I used to wear a patch on one eye, and I hated watching TV because it was just it was a lot of, stimulation. So I had like 100, maybe 80 books. And I had my mom just bring all my books and I just read and just read and read. And, my creative mind, after reading a lot about African history and African American history, and there's all these amazing stories about these people that really lived and these people that did these amazing feats, not fictional, but real people.
Mhm.
And these are the stories that were never told. And still to this day, there's so many different stories that need to be brought to light. So that was some of my inspiration of wanting to become a writer. I did a lot of acting and still do a little bit here and there, but I find that we have to control our narratives and control our stories. We can't just rely on the dominant society or Hollywood or anything like that to tell our stories the way we want them to be told and the way they should be told. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on writing more, and if some acting things come up and I get picked for them, great. But I want to be in control of that story and that narrative, so our children and um, you know um, our older people can have something to kind of stick their chest out about and be like, yeah, that's they either they live that or that's a part of their DNA in some ways. So but back to laying up in the hospital, you know, it's you just get a download of information and stories and all these things just kind of pop in your head. And when you can't really write, I got kind of frustrated sometimes because I couldn't write so well at the time and that kind of stuff. So I had to kind of keep those things in the back of my mind. And then when I did get the actual motor skills to write and type and stuff again, I went nuts. I had like a whole laptop full of stories and ideas and clothing lines and all kind of wild stuff. So, and I kind of think really, really big, and my dreams and my aspirations are kind of scary because they're so huge that it would probably be impossible to really have all of them come to fruition. But if I get that one to blow up, it's over with.
Exactly. I hear you. And
Yeah,
it will. You're putting it out there into the universe. I definitely believe in that.
yes,
It's just only
absolutely.
it's everything's a matter of time, right?
Hmm.
And
Indeed.
I
Yeah.
what really resonates with to me your story and what you've been through with the brain tumor. Obviously, I would not wish that on you or anyone, but
Absolutely.
as you're talking at the end, what really hit me is the silver lining and the blessing in that, is
Yes.
finding that that's what struck me is that you
Yeah.
had all these thoughts and boom, now you can like write a trilogy.
Yeah,
you know
several trilogies. It's
You're
crazy.
right.
Like, yeah, my wife will tell you like I have this idea about something and I'll write it and I'll type it up and I'm like, babe, read this. And she's like, what? All right. And then she'll read it. She's like, wow, that's really good. Like oh my God. Like, and I'm just like, yeah, it's crazy. So um it and just sometimes it does get kind of just frustrating when you have these ideas and you have these things and they're not moving per se, but I think that entrepreneurs and people who have multiple abilities and multi-talented, you just kind of, just build blocks and just make steps and strides towards it. In the universe, nothing is still. That's from the seven hermetic principles of vibration. Nothing is still. So as long as you're putting your mind to it and doing a little bit of it each and every day, it's moving. So you can work on this project for 6 months and then move on to something else for 6 months and then move on and move on. And eventually, when you have your completed thing or you have someone that can help you with an opportunity, people are going to say, wow, how did you accomplish all of these things throughout this span of your life? And it's because I never stopped. I just kept going. And I think that separates, some individuals who give up and the other individuals who are just like, nah, I'm stubborn. I ain't going to quit. And these are the things that I was able to create a legacy and pass down, to generations.
Definitely. You just said a gem right there. So hopefully everyone listening is really keying into that, because you're speaking my language. I'm a big believer in energy, vibration, and
Hmm.
movement. And so you just said the key, keep going. And you and I
Yes.
chatted about this a little bit yesterday, right? With
Yes. Yes, we did.
Nipsey Hussle. We had both.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was just like, we know that he's not the only one to say it, and we've told ourselves
Right.
it before, but to hear him say it and it be recorded and still listen to
Hmm.
it, it's like a
Yeah.
motivation, because he said the only thing that separated him and others is he kept going.
Yep. He
So
didn't
it
quit.
just, that's it. And it's
Yeah.
it's so easy but so hard, right? To
Yeah.
keep going. Um,
Absolutely.
I have to give a shout out to Najla. She's joining us, it looks like this morning, and she says you have an amazing journey and you're very resilient.
Thank
So,
you.
good
Thank
morning,
you. Appreciate
Najla.
it, Nigel. Good morning. Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, I want to shift gears a bit from
Sure.
the writing to the entrepreneuring. Now, I know the two connect, of course, but
Absolutely.
would you like to speak a bit more to how you've transitioned into the journey of writer, not just writer, but entrepreneur,
Hmm.
and what that looks like?
So as an artist, as a creative, a lot of times we get bogged down with just the creative process, right? But at some point, if it's to be monetized, you either got to have someone on the team, on your team, that's has the business sense, or you have to develop that as well. Um, so in certain industries, like for instance, clothing and publications, comic books, novels, those sort of things, you got to understand the business of it. Because if you don't, you'll have all these amazing things that are just kind of sitting on your laptop and they're not going anywhere. And you got to kind of put yourself in a position to be seen. Creators are very, very attached to their creativity. And I was that way at one time. But I think that you can't be afraid to, put it out there. Get it out there, let people see it, let your audience and the public decide whether it's really amazing or just kind of mediocre or what have you. And there's a lot of things that I see, on, Netflix and different networks and things like that that are just kind of like, but so many moving parts are involved in major networks and in producing things and even music, right? Um, but as an entrepreneur, understanding the business side, you don't have to know everything and be able to do everything and wear so many hats. Maybe in the beginning, you got to wear a ton of hats, but as you grow and as you build, you got to find that mastermind group, those people on your team that you can share your vision with. Because if it's you by yourself, man, it's not impossible, but it's really going to take a long, long time. And individuals like Tyler Perry and Nipsey and other individuals that have been able to, even somebody like Sylvester Stallone, even living in this car, you know what I mean? Like, and you get to those positions where people are seeing what you have and what you do and find value in it. And then you understand that, okay, I don't have to know everything, but I got to know a little bit about it. That way I'm able to make the final decision and say, I love what you did right there, but let's shift it a little bit because that goes with the vision a little bit more. So as a leader, an entrepreneur, those kind of things, you know, you just learn how to move, and you kind of have that sixth sense where it says, this doesn't feel right, so I'm going to move in this direction, because if you listen to it, it'll serve you. It's not going to lead you astray. It's not going to take you down. Once when you fight it, that's when you end up taking an L or something like that. But business is hard, man. Business, it's hard to get financing. It's hard to sell your vision to other individuals. It is, but Jessica, you got a team with you, right? You got individuals, with you, um, that help guide you and stay in line with your vision, right? So that's important to have those people around you that are able to um, see that bigger picture. And there's some individuals that are going to be on your team for a short period of time, and they're going to remove themselves. You don't have to physically tell people, it's when you have your vision and you're doing the right things and you're letting your light shine and you're a 100-watt bulb, and they ain't been doing what they've been supposed to do or what they've supposed to have been doing, they're going to remove themselves, because they're in their hearts, they're going to know, like, man, I ain't done anything and this thing is moving. And yeah, they'll self-sabotage. So just maintain your integrity, maintain your vision, and don't compromise, that end goal that you want. um
Ooh, you're speaking some truths this morning. Speaking
yeah,
some truths.
thank you,
I
thank
want
you.
to go back to, because these are key things to me in business that I want to highlight that you spoke to,
Mhm.
is just having that team, and it takes a while. I just want to encourage people who, I know,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
just want to kind of interject that it
Hmm.
does take a while, but
Yeah.
do it in baby steps. But
Yes.
Anubis, you are so right. A team
Hmm.
makes all the difference in the world, because of
Yeah.
course, when you start out, you are doing it all, and you
Hmm.
typically, right, don't have the
Yeah.
resources to do to get others on board
Right.
necessarily. But as
Yeah.
time goes on, that is critical to moving to that next place and that next step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I love
Yeah.
that you spoke to that. And I think that really what you highlighted was the integrity piece.
Hmm.
And a lot of folks sacrifice that to quote unquote get ahead.
Hmm.
But I don't know about you, but to me, long term, that
Yeah.
integrity piece really holds value, because long term, you will survive and thrive and sustain, versus doing it short term the wrong
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no retirement plan with, doing it the wrong way. It's easy come, easy go. These are age old principles that still hold truth to this day. So I have individuals that I'm surrounded with, that have high integrity and have, goals. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you probably need to find a new circle. These individuals are extremely intelligent, very high skills. Shout out to Sean and Master and Josh, Wanda, Scott, um, BD, Toby, all these individuals that I've come to know and grow with, and really begin to create a deep connection with. These individuals kind of help keep me going, because a lot of them are at a very high level, at what they do, and I want to be equally, as high. And if you're, like the saying goes, if you're in a room full of 5 millionaires, you're going to be the sixth. That's just how it is. If you're in a room full of criminals and individuals that don't have aspirations and goals, and you're going to continue to be that individual, with no aspirations and goals. So um yeah, it's crazy to find that mastermind group. Napoleon Hill talks about that mastermind group, man. It's so important, you know.
Yes, I agree. It's
Yeah.
critical to how your success looks. How your
Hmm.
success looks.
Absolutely.
And these go so fast. So first, I shout out to Ebony. She joined us. Good morning, Eb.
Oh,
She's
good
given
morning,
us
Ebony.
all the love here. She was loving what you were speaking on, and
Yes.
thank you. She's commenting on my look here this morning, and thanks for engaging with us, Ebony. Before we go, I definitely want to get to the firearms piece of
Hmm.
what you do professionally, because this
Yes.
is so, so, so critical and
Hmm.
important to everyone, but our
Yeah.
community specifically. So I want you to speak to what you do, how you do it, and
Hmm.
how people can get involved.
Um, I think the Second Amendment is extremely important. Um, there's a lot of people who maybe own firearms that don't own firearms responsibly. Um, and I'm not talking about those individuals. I'm talking about individuals who go out, legally purchase firearms, and get training. Um, th- we, the police and first responders and those individuals, that's their job, right? To respond to a threat. But it's your responsibility to protect yourself, self determination, um, being able to protect yourself and your family. Law of survival is what? Self preservation. So, in reality, you can't rely on anyone or anything to save you. It's all personally responsible to you and your family. So, got into firearms about 6 years ago, very slow because it is an expensive type of endeavor. But, like my wife says, price is only an issue in the absence of value. I think firearms are very valuable. It's kind of like golf, right? People, they go play golf. They're against themselves. I go to the gun range because for me, I'm always trying to perfect, my target and being focused and in that moment. Firearms are not only used for self-defense, but they're used in competitions. There are some people collect firearms and they have the real pretty firearms and they polish them and clean them all the time and have them sitting in cases and that sort of thing. I'm more on the defensive side. So I started off with the National African American Gun Association as a member, and then I became a member of 5280 Steel Gun Club. Shout out to you guys. Um, and just really started, honing my skills with the individuals that I surrounded myself with. And eventually, I got a job at a gun range, and I was able to shoot every day that I was there. And my skill level began to develop to a higher level. Eventually, wanted to become an instructor because I feel like as African Americans, it can be intimidating going into a gun store or a gun range and you may not have all the knowledge and expertise, right? And you're surrounded by these individuals who may not really care about you or like what you're who you are. And we know through the history, I don't have to go into that. We can see within the climate right now that there's a lot of bigotry and hatred still to this day. So as me myself, I thought that it was important to want to um, train my community to say, when you're by yourself or you're at home and your home is being invaded, yeah, you call 911. That's one of the first things you do. But the second thing you do is you get yourself up and defend your family, defend your home, and defend yourself. So there's a lot that comes along with that responsibility of owning firearms. The safety portion is super huge. You don't just buy it and then just start kind of playing with it. No, you get training from someone who's certified or someone who knows what they're doing. Um, and then finally, you join a community of individuals who shoot and train on the regular because that's going to help you encourage you to become better and more responsible and maintain those safety rules. And then you pass it down to your kids, right? So I train someone at least twice a week. I'm always training someone on safety, the fundamentals, because there's basic fundamentals that comes along with firearms, and then the mindset. When you have a firearm and you're concealed, you have to have a totally different mindset from individuals who may not be concealing at that time. And a lot of that stuff we teach in our CCW class with our organization called Gun Tailors. Myself, Sean, and Master, we created a organization that we tailor your needs to fit you. We don't just say go out and buy a firearm, come back and we'll train you. No, a lot of times people don't know what to buy. They don't understand calibers. They don't understand a lot of things. So we actually walk you through the entire process of purchasing a firearm that fits your hand. Is it going to be concealed on you? What kind of holster do you need? All those kind of things come into play. And then we train you and show you how to use it and help you become proficient at it. So, because we gun tailors. So that's what we do. And it's fun. When you love what you do, it doesn't become work. You just become passionate about it, and you become an advocate for the Second Amendment and an advocate for African Americans, people of color, to have firearms, because it's the Second Amendment for a reason, right? First Amendment is freedom of speech, right to assemble peacefully, yada yada yada, and the Second Amendment is designed to protect all the other ones. So if we exercise that, then the perception of African Americans owning firearms changes, right? It's not a thug thing, it's not criminals, right? It's responsible gun ownership. So if anyone is interested in learning more about firearms, hit me up on Facebook. I'd be more than happy to, have a conversation with you about, what we do and pricing and your budget, whatever you're looking to do, and let's get it in. I live at the range. Some people live at the gym. I live at the range. I go to the gym too, but the range is where I live. So
Well, everything you said is just so important and excellent. And for me, it sticks out because as a lifelong educator and learner,
hmm
you, the key that stuck out to me is that you said you educate people on how to do things to fit their need with
yes,
the firearms, and how to use them, how to buy them, all of that.
hmm
And there, it's a
yeah,
process, right?
yeah,
And so
absolutely,
that's really important. And I love that you take your clients through that whole process.
yes,
And I definitely, your class is on my list. Promise you, I'm not just saying that for this interview. It's actually the next one on my list because I take lots of classes. But
yeah,
your
yeah,
class is definitely next on my list, and I'm excited to do it. And Najla's online listening, so she's saying she wants to get involved. So hey,
yes.
Najla, you and I can do. Here I am.
Come through,
I'm
Najla.
plugging your classes right now.
Yeah,
I know that we can
yeah,
do group classes or
yes,
individual. So Naj, let's do it. Let's get together
yeah.
and get a class.
Yeah, man, I'm a professional student. I don't know it all, but I think that education and learning is something that I'll probably be doing for the rest of my life. Hopefully I'm an old man in a wheelchair trying to learn how to use the hologram tech that my grandkids are using. I don't know, but it's just, keeping that education and that learning mindset. It just keeps you fresh, keeps you young, and it's just great to always learn new things or how to become better than you were before. So come on through, ladies. I have a lot of lady students, and it's fun. It really is, because it helps empower you, and helps you feel confident, and it's just a great thing. It's a great service.
And I'd imagine, I don't know, sometimes I have a little bit of fear of guns. And I think
hmm
that people, that's another reason why some people don't take advantage of learning, how to shoot it, hold it, how to work,
hmm
because there's that fear factor, but
Yeah,
once you
absolutely.
go to your class, then you can work with that.
It's a no pressure type of situation, and they're inanimate objects, and once you learn, we take you through the basic safety rules and how to do things. You can breathe. You can say, okay, it's a gun. Okay, big deal, right? And then you become proficient at it, and you'd be amazed what you're able to do. Once you know develop the skill level, it becomes a lifestyle. And it should become a lifestyle. Just purchasing a gun and putting it in your sock drawer, and hoping that it performs, and you've never shot it before, and you need it. That's not how it works, right? Nobody rises to the occasion. We only rise to our level of training. So training in anything, training in archery, training in, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's always a way to become better through training, period.
Yes. Yes, important. Wise words. Good advice. So before we get out of here,
Hmm.
Ebony is asking about your hat. I was going to ask you too. How do we get the
Yes.
gear and support you? And
Yes.
can you provide information on how to purchase that gear?
Yeah, so Gun Tailors, we are in the process of creating a brand new website. We're working on some other amazing things in the community as far as our institute of training. So that stuff will definitely be available. There's also a something else that we're working on that's really, really huge. I'll keep you guys posted. I can't spill the beans just yet, but um, just stay tuned, and we'll definitely um, we have something special. That's all I got to say. It'll be amazing. Yeah,
Well,
but
I want you to come back. You can debut it on the segment.
okay.
That would be
Oh,
dope.
that'll be perfect.
That'll be dope.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, because we
yeah,
talked about that other thing
yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, that'll be dope.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to that. We'll
Okay.
get you back on when it's all finalized, and we'll definitely
Yes.
debut that. We'll make a big deal of
Yes.
it so we can
Perfect.
get some exposure with that for sure. So, it
Indeed. Indeed.
is there any is the what's the easiest way to get in touch with you for those? Because it sounds like you got lots of folks wanting to take classes and buy your
Mhm.
gear. So for now, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
Easiest way is just to reach out to me on social media. So I'm just Brandon Anubis Heru on Facebook. I'm Anubis Heru on Instagram. Um, that's probably the easiest way to get in contact with me right now. If you want to inquire about classes or anything like that, it's just guntailors at gmail.com, and just spell like gun tailors. So um, yeah, so that's probably the best way. And then, like I said, website is coming soon. All that good stuff is coming. But yeah, just look out. Anybody that we train. I like to show progress videos and things like that, of people, getting it in and having a good time. And it's relaxed. It's fun. It's developing a new skill. So as far as that goes, yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait to take it myself.
yeah.
And I will say your wife is always good about plugging your stuff too. So if anyone out there is listening, friends with Ricky,
Yes,
she's always good
yes,
about providing all the info too. So you got
yep, absolutely.
both sides.
Matter of fact, most of my classes more recently have been because Rainey's put it out there and just, created a whole buzz around it. So thank you, baby. I appreciate it. You know,
That's
keep
how I
plugging.
first found out too. That's actually how I first found out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, thank you, Anubis. This has been wonderful. You have just shared so much valuable information and just some gems that I hope that others really inspires them to continue going with whatever they're working on right now. Because that's what it's
Yeah,
about. Like you said
yeah,
earlier, just that movement, one step at a time, right? One thing at a
yeah,
time. So
yeah.
just thank you for spending this morning with us and just sharing your wealth of experience and
Thank you.
talents. And we just look forward to what's coming up.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. This is an amazing platform. Lucky and honored to be on here. So I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. And to your point, by the way, afterwards we upload all videos to my YouTube page, Jessica Springs. That's it. It's not agent because you know how Facebook is. You kind of have to have that extra when
Yeah.
you're doing the business page. So it's just
Absolutely.
Jessica Springs, and you can go and view this video, share it with others. Yeah, just spread the knowledge that there's all these business owners like Anubis out there because everybody's up there and there is a wealth of services and knowledge on those videos. So please
Yes.
subscribe to that.
Absolutely.
You won't regret it. And in the meantime, just be well, be kind to yourself, kind to others, and stay inspired. We can do this.
Yes.
Yes. All right. All right. Until next time on Takeover Tuesday, we'll see you later. Bye, Anubis.
Peace.